I haven't got my proper glasses, but I'm just glasses for playing with. I'm way beyond it. So
I'm sure.
A few mistakes.
Well, I think all the hymns are well known, so we're going to have to sing with a loud voice.
Right, yes, thank you all very much for asking me to come back. It's just under a year since I've been to see you all. The last time I was came to preach was your final service in Stamford Bridge Chapel before you had to come down at Stamford Bridge. Pocklington Chapel before you had to come down here because of the weird and wonderfulness that was going on there. And I was very lucky then to do your Mother's Day service I did there before we left. Today, with it being the first weekend in Lent, we're going back to basics and we're going to do the story of creation. So we're going to do, so it's just as well that you've all had a cup of tea or a cup of coffee beforehand, because I'm going to make you sing with your hymns. So there's going to be the normal hymns, there'll be memories, there's Bible readings, there's poems, hopefully a trip down memory lane of things that you used to do, happy memories of childhoods and different things like that. So as I say, my name's Claire. I've come here this morning with my mum and my dad and my daughter. So there's 3 generations of us here this morning. We are from Stamford Bridge. Unfortunately, 3 years ago in May, our chapel closed in Stamford Bridge. They still haven't done anything with it, so as far as we're concerned, we could still have been there. But yes, it is up for sale. Nobody wants it, only us. But we can't afford to have it. So we go to the church in Stamford Bridge, but hopefully I won't get struck down for saying this, but it's just not the same as a Methodist chapel. It's not the same as a Methodist get-together. I go to my local church. I actually live in Woodthorpe in York. And there's a seat right in the back corner, and that is known as Claire's seat. Now, I've been going to that church for nearly 14 years. And it's quite a high Church of England church. And I still don't know when I'm supposed to be stood up or sat down, or I just like going and you stand up when you sing a hymn and then you sit down and you know what you're doing. Slight alteration to that this morning, because there's quite a few hymns. Don't feel like you have to stand up all the time. All I ask is that you enjoy yourselves, you sing your hearts out, and hopefully you take away something that makes you smile. So there are also people that are no longer with us that will be featured this morning. And I've brought pictures of them, because I can't show you them any other way. So on these pictures, I'll leave them at the front. There's my granddad, who was a local Methodist minister for 65 years before he gained his wings and moved upstairs. And so there's a picture of Grandad there with our trusty Jack Russell, our Ben that went everywhere with us. So I'll bob in there. And then there's a picture, I'll do this one, because our Ben's on it again, there's a surprise, of my gran. So she was the person that always made sure that my granddad got everywhere on time. She would put his collection out for him, his packet of tree bark mints, his clean hanky that was folded with the most amazing creases in it in the world. And she just looked after us all, did my gran. And it was 25 years yesterday since Gran gained her wings. So I brought them with us to be here with us today. So moving on with our service, I'll say the hymns I've chosen are connected to the days of creation. Some of them a little bit tighter than others. Some of the hymns just are very loosely connected, but I like the hymns. And they don't get sung enough, in my opinion. And so to start our service this morning, we're going to begin with singing hymn number 136, Morning Has Broken. Morning has broken, like the first morning, morning has broken, like the first rain. Lovely, and then just got a short prayer to begin our service. Creator of all, thank you for the beauty of earth and sky, for rivers, forests, and every living thing. Help us walk gently, protect what is fragile, and honour the gift of your creation. Amen. And so we begin on a journey on what must have been the busiest week in the entire world that anybody knows. I'm always moaning that I've had a busy week. But then when you sit and you read about the creation story that happened in the week, you're like, actually, mine was nothing at all. So day one, light and darkness. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. So, as we've started this year, you see, as always, big man upstairs always likes to mess with what you're doing, doesn't he? He never just does things. You have it planned a certain way. And I was going to say, as we've started this year, some days we've struggled to distinguish between what's been day and what's been night. Because it's normally been cloudy and scuddy and mucky and awful. So I thought I'd have a look on the weather site, because everybody likes the weather. What's more typically British than looking at the weather? And scarily, up to and including the 8th of February for winter, we'd already had 110% of our rainfall for winter, which runs from December through to the end of February. So yeah, England had averaged 111%. Wales had 94% of its average rainfall. And I'm sure come maybe 3 or 4 months down the line, when we've had a bit of sunshine, we'll all be sat here ranting because we'll be on a hosepipe ban. And we're just like, how can there have been so much water? Somewhere recorded 37 consecutive days of rainfall. And you just sat there going, give us a break, come on. Much as we like water. We can't survive without water. But I do prefer the water to sometimes give us a break. And just let us do what we want to do with the water instead of the water deciding what it wants to do. On the plus side, we're not too far from spring, are we? We can see when we're walking around, the snowdrops are out, the aconites are out, got daffodils out. They're early, aren't they? Not even back end of February as daffies are out. So yes, on the plus side, if you're going to follow, and I can't say the word, but we'll try, the meteorological winter is due to finish next weekend. So next weekend we will be in spring. Spring will have sprung. So because we're going to do that spring has sprung, we're going to join together to sing our next hymn, which is hymn number 59, Shine Jesus Shine. and this will remind us that God's light always shines.
That's awfully unusual, but we've got people who came early to do the running and they've got blocked in by somebody who's come later. No, it's not. They said somebody was actually directing them into the car park earlier on with the high-vis thing. It's the Volkswagen that's just parked. Whose is that Volkswagen? Could you possibly just move it back, let these guys out? Is it
a brown one?
It's a brown one, yeah.
That's mine.
Is it? Oh, what a shocker. Oh, man. What's the chances of
I
that?
will move it now.
Oh, thanks. Well,
Ain't it funny, on no days in the days of creation did it say that we had to stop for running? I think that's maybe why outside I am, because I follow the days of creation. Oh, not my keys out, darling. You can tell it's live, can't you?
Then find your keys if you come inside and join the service.
Yes.
While they're moving cars, we'll move on to day 2. And we might set sail without an organist if anybody has a good leading voice. So on day 2, the sky. God created the sky to separate the waters from the here we go, back to water. To separate the skies above from the waters below. And God said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from the sky. So God made the vault and separated the water. And it was so. God called the vault the sky, and there was evening. And then there was morning, the second day. What can we say about water and sky? As we've already heard, we haven't seen much of the sky really this year, as it's been clouded over with all the rain water that's been coming out of it. So instead we'll have a bit of an educational session. How many times do we think the word water appears in the Bible?
Many.
Not as many as you may think. It is only mentioned in 611 of the Bible verses. I thought it would have been an awful lot more. But yeah, I did think it would be mentioned more than that, to be fair. But yeah, it's mentioned just over 700 times in the Bible. The earth holds an estimated, this is just a load of words put together. You can't comprehend this. Well, I can't. Far too advanced for me. The earth holds an estimated 326 million trillion gallons of water. A figure so large it's difficult to comprehend, but it encompasses all water found on the planet, from the oceans and the ice caps to the rivers, lakes, and the moisture in the atmosphere. Here's an interesting one for you. A bath or a shower? Hands up who prefers a bath? And who prefers a shower? And those of you who prefer a shower, who prefer it if you could actually get in a bath? So, yes, that's one of the joys of getting older. The mind is willing, but the body is not. I do apologise, I do stink a deep heat. There's no other nice way to say it. But yeah, my back and my hip have decided not to play as they should. So there is an aroma of deep heat, which again, I would love to get in the bath, but I'm not entirely sure if I'd be able to get out, and that wouldn't be pleasant for anybody. So in the UK, 59% of people prefer to shower instead of having a bath. It's thought that because we've got in such a rush, that's why we like just jumping in the shower, because life's just got so quick. Whereas if you get in a bath, you get legged out and that's it. Well, I do anyway. Legged out with a book, read what's going on. In Brazil, 99% of people have a shower, but that's all to do with the humidity and the weather of what's about. Nowadays, apparently, a bath is seen as a luxury item. I can remember when we used to have bath night, and we used to have bath night on a Sunday and a Thursday. Sunday night, also, you were clean and tidy for going to school on a Monday. And you always got bathed in age order. So my dad was always in first, and then my mum, and then my brother, and then me. And if we want that bigger bath for us all to go in together, I tell you. And if we wanted it to be warmed up, we had to let a little bit of water out so we could put some hot water in. But we didn't ever have any extra bubbles in. Otherwise, I think that's why I make on with bubbles now, they go on for all eternity. But I can always remember as well, yeah, it was always to say you either liked having a bath on a Thursday because it was a sign that weekend was coming and you didn't have to go to school. Or on a Sunday night, it was a little bit of a happy, sad time because then you were like, oh, I get to have a bath. Oh, it means I have to go back to school. So yeah, memories of what you did as a child, and memories are so precious, so precious. Because when, like I say, 25 years since Gran moved upstairs, and it's nearly 16 since Grandad moved upstairs, and without these memories, you don't really have anything of where. Memories are a very special thing that stay with you. Nobody can take your memories away from you. So as we're going to drift away, thinking about how nice it is to be in a lovely hot bath with lots of bubbles and a good book, we're going to move on to our next hymn, which is very, very loosely associated with water, because it's Will Your Anchor Hold. So we are going to sing verses number 1, 2 and 4. We're going to omit verse 3. So we're going to sing Will Your Anchor Hold, which is hymn number 645. This is a hymn I don't think gets enough. I don't think it gets sung enough. That's why I'm at home when I'm doing services. 645, thank you, my love.
In the storms of life, when the clouds unfold, and rings of strife, when the storm tides left and the cables strain, will your anchor drift or firm remain? We have an anchor that keeps us soul, steadfast and sure while the billows roll. Fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Saviour's love. Will your anchor hold in the straits of fear, when the breakers roar and the reef is near, while the surges rave and the wild winds blow? Shall the angry waves and your blood will flow? We have an anchor that keeps us soul, steadfast and sure while the billows roll. Fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Saviour's love. Will your eyes behold through the morning light the city of gold and the harbour bright? Will your anchor stay by the heavenly shore when the storms are past forevermore? We have an anchor that keeps us whole, steadfast and sure while the billows roll. Fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Saviour's love.
Oh, we like that one, didn't we? Gets up from your book, doesn't it? Very nice. Right, day 3, we're nearly at hump day, not quite. Day 3, land and vegetation. God gathered the waters together, allowing dry land to appear, which he called earth. He also created all kinds of plants and trees. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. So we're very rapidly coming up to planting time in the garden, aren't we? It was always a Good Friday ritual that Grandad would get everything planted up on Good Friday. But that was always assuming that Good Friday wasn't at its latest point in April. Otherwise, that was too late for potatoes to go in, so we had them. But yeah, Good Friday was always our planting up day. And those of you that know me know what a huge part my gran and Grandad played in my life. Now, Grandad always had an allotment. was a huge allotment that he dug twice a year by hand. We used to try and get a rotavator. Rotavator didn't do it properly. So if we got the rotavator, did it with the rotavator, he still dug it himself anyway. So I have spent hours and hours and hours there with my granddad and his trusty Jack Russell Terrier, our Ben, who always sat in the basket, well, in the basket, that's quite loose terminology, in the tomato box on the front of the bike. My granddad used to have an old postman's bike. And when I was little, as you can imagine, I wouldn't be able to do it now. I wasn't allowed to go on my own bike by myself because we had to cross the main road in Pickering that you go on to get down to Scarborough. And because I was always gopping about and not paying attention, I wasn't allowed to have my own bike. So my granddad used to maintain me on his bike. So we used to be there on the bike, old postman's bike. The dog would be in the tomato box at the front. He was quite happy, nobody bothered him. And then on the crossbar, Granddad used to attach a bike seat for me. And I used to be sat on this bike seat that he'd fastened on. And then he used to get a bit of binder band and he used to loop it so that I had 2 feet, 2 loopholes for my feet. So I used to be sat there with my feet in like these stirrups on this bike seat and my granddad sort of holding me on as well. And then Granddad would be on the seat. 9 times out of 10 he'd have either a spade or a fork slung over his shoulder. I mean, health and safety was nothing when I was a baby. And we used to go around now. Sometimes we used to have a laugh because sometimes he didn't quite get the bolt fastened as fast as it should be on the bike seat. And if we went around a corner slightly a little bit too tight, then there'd be a jidder of the dog. I'd suddenly be sat like that, which I shouldn't do with a bad back. And my granddad would be there trying to keep us all safe. And then all of a sudden there'd be an elbow come up and my seat would go back to where it should be. And it was brilliant with my granddad. We loved him to bits. It was my fault. It wasn't his fault that he hadn't fastened the bolt up as hard as it should be. It was my fault for scrowing about. So yes, we were there. We spent hours down at this allotment, pottering about. He used to have his measure. He used to have a piece of wood, about 18 inch, 2 foot long, and it had different length measures in it for how long he would plant, distances between what he would plant everything in the garden. But the one thing that you would always do with Granddad, you were allowed to look, but you were never ever allowed to touch. The number of times I have been told you look with your eyes and not with your hands. I still get told that now. I just don't pay as much attention now. But yeah, you look with your eyes and not with your hands. Grandad also used to say when you went walking, don't walk with your head looking up at the sky. Because you never fell over anything that fell out of the sky. So you should always look looking down at the ground. And to be fair, many a time when he came back from being up the town, he'd have some money, or he'd have an additional screw or a bolt to put in the hundreds of jars that we had when he moved upstairs and we had to sort it out. There was something for every occasion that he found. But out of all these screws and bolts and nails that he found, there was never one just quite the right size. We always had to go looking for another. So yeah, it's always intrigued me in the garden when you look at things and you look at this tiny, tiny little seed and you plant it and you give it some water, not as much water, thank you, I've had enough of that. And you love it and you nurture it and then it grows and it gives you so much back in return. And when you think about that, that's so much like the love of God that he gives to you, that he plants the seed in with you. And then with the love and the nurture of everything that goes along, then it grows into so much more. For the garden of your daily living, please plant the following. Something to take away with you. Plant 3 rows of peas. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of soul. Plant 4 rows of squash. So you can squash gossip, squash indifference, squash grumbling, and squash selfishness. Plant 4 rows of lettuce. I apologise for these ones. Let us be faithful. Let us be kind. Let us be patient. Let us really love one another. No garden should be without turnips. So make sure you turnip for meetings. Turn up for service. And turn up to help each other. And to conclude our garden, we must have time. Time for each other, time for family, and time for friends. You water your garden freely with patience and cultivate it with love. There is so much fruit because you reap what you sow. We join together to sing hymn number 130. We plough the fields and scatter.
We plough the fields and scatter the good seed on the land, but it is fed and watered by God's almighty hand. He sends the snow in winter, the warmth to shroud the grain, the breezes and the sunshine, and soft refreshing rain. All good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. Then thank the Lord, oh thank the Lord, for all His done. He only is the maker of all things near and far. He makes the wayside flower, He lights the evening star. The wind that waves obey Him, by Him the birds are fed. Much more to us His children, He gives our daily bread. All good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. Then thank the Lord, oh thank the Lord, for all His done. We thank you then, O Father, for all things bright and good, the seed time and the harvest, our life, our health, our food. Accept the gifts we offer, for all your loving hearts, and what you most desire from humble thankful hearts. All good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. Then thank the Lord, oh thank the Lord, for all His love.
Day number 4, celestial bodies. That's a posh word, isn't it? God created the sun, the moon, and the stars to give light to earth and to separate day from night. And God said, let there be lights in the vaults of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. And let there be light in the sky, in the vault of the sky, to give light on the earth. And it was so. God made 2 great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vaults of the sky to give light on earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. There was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. Now, Mum's going to read us it's a strange poem because it hasn't got a title, and I can't find the title for it, but she's going to read us a poem that associates with this.
In the depths of shadows, where doubts often creep, a flicker of hope is yours to keep. With every small gesture, with every kind word, you can lift up a spirit, let their voice be heard. Shine your light, let it glow, like the sun that rises, bringing warmth to the snow. In the hearts of the weary, your brilliance will spark, a flame of compassion igniting the dark. When the world feels heavy and burdens are great, remember your power, don't hesitate, for within you lies magic, a radiant force, to guide and inspire you, to change the course. So shine your light, let it beam, a river of kindness, a beautiful dream. In the tapestry of life, your colours will blend, creating a masterpiece where love has no end. Let your light shine, not just for you, but for every soul seeking something true. In unity we flourish, together we rise. With hearts wide open, we light up the skies.
Thank you, Mum. So it's your turn again. Humpback Day. Humpback Day is nearly done. Hymn number 167, Colours of Day.
The sun has come up, the night is behind. Go down in the city into the street, and let's give the message to the people we meet. So light up the fire and let the faith burn. Open the door at Jesus' return. Take seeds of His Spirit, let the fruit grow. Tell the people of Jesus that His love show. Go through the park, go into the town. The sun shall shine on, it never goes down. The light of the world is risen again. The people of darkness are needing a friend. So light up the fire and let the flame burn. Open the door at Jesus' return. Take seeds of His Spirit, let the fruit grow. Tell the people of Jesus, let His love show. Open your eyes, look into the sky. The darkness has come, the sun came to hide. The evening goes on, the sun disappears. But Jesus is ready, His Spirit is near. So light up the fire and let the flame burn. Open the door, let Jesus return. Take seeds of His Spirit, let the fruit grow. Tell the people of Jesus, let His love show.
Right, so we're on to day 5, sea creatures and birds. And God said, let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living thing with which the water teems, and that moves about in it, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." There was evening, and there was morning, the 5th day. I don't like fish. I don't understand them. I don't get the fascination of them. I like eating them, covered in batter or breadcrumbs or sauce or everything like that. I just don't get them. I don't understand how something so strange. It doesn't really do anything about, say, Bob, does it? That's all it does. It just talks to all his friends who are all called Bob. You don't have to remember lots of names because they're all called Bob. It's their eyes that I don't like. They just seem to follow you wherever you go. Now this, and it wasn't always quite as bad as what it is now, but I can always remember when I first started, I'm an accountant by trade. I went into that to prove that not all accountants are boring. Not really, no. Needless to say, I'm not an accountant anymore. But we went out one Christmas to this posh do. You see, when I like going out, I'm very Yorkshire. I like to look at a menu, and when you read it, you don't need to ask for any translation in what it is.
Yeah.
And so we went to this posh place, and the only thing on the menu that I knew what it said was there was all this gobbledygook and lots. It would have been worth hundreds, thousands of points in Scrabble. But the only thing that I understood it said was fish. So I thought, oh, I like fish, we'll get on all right here. Now my face must have been an absolute picture, because when it came back it was the full kit and caboodle of a fish just laid on this plate, and I thought, I don't quite know how to tackle this. And they brought me out the other thing, you get a posh knife, don't you, when you have fish? I've got all on to work one knife, never mind one that doesn't particularly have a blade on it. And I stilled it, and yet came out complete with its head and its eyes and its tail and full kit and caboodle. And to this day, I have no idea how I did it. I've never ever tried to reenact it to try and do it. But I somehow put the knife somewhere between the connection of its head and its body, and this fish came up to see me. And I was like, don't want to do that. So then I very quickly removed my knife, and it just went floop. And I was like, oh, no. So then I spent the rest of that main course trying to move stuff about, very carefully avoiding this head and this fish's head and its eyes. So that's the main reason why I don't like fish at all. I know people do find them very, very relaxing. My husband used to have a fish tank with tropical fish in. I absolutely detested it because the motor that was in it, I have really bad asthma. And the motor that was in it, when it sat there chugging about and blowing bubbles, going blah, 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 it sounds just like when I have to go to hospital and go on a nebulizer. So nothing to do with fish particularly brings me back nice memories or anything, other than eating them on seafront covered in batter. So I'll stick to doing that. But yes, the fish are amazing. How many marine species do we think that there are that are recognised? There are 230,000 known marine species. But scientists believe that that's only covering 9% of the ocean. There is 91% that is still untouched, unrecognised, uninterfered with by humans. So when you look at that, there's no wonder that God was getting tired by end of week, was there? So we're going to move on again to the end of day 5. We're going to sing hymn number 100, All Things Bright and Beautiful. But we're going to omit verse 3. Please.
All things bright and beautiful, all rain, the tiny rains. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. The red mountain, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. He gave us eyes to see them, and lips that we might tell how great is God Almighty, who has made all things well. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all.
And so we're moving on to day 6, land, animals and humans. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them, male and female. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. There was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. Family. What does family mean? So according to my friend Google, interesting. What did we all do before Google? We all had dictionaries and Encyclopedia Britannica, didn't we? You know? But yeah, according to my friend Google, when you search family, it says a group of persons united by the ties of marriage, blood or adoption constituting a single house. At its most basic, a family consists of an adult, their offspring. Most commonly, it consists of 2 married adults, usually a man and a woman, almost always from different lineages and not related by blood, along with their offspring, usually living in a private and separate dwelling. What an awful, awful description of something that is so amazing and that we're so lucky to be a part of with families. I'm very lucky. I'm part of a very, very close and tight-knit family. We're also lucky enough, there's 4 generations of us. So there's 3 generations of us today. I also have a brother, he has a boy and a girl, and my nephew has a little girl as well. So we're very, very lucky that we have 4 generations of us. We don't particularly argue. Me and my brother have the odd, but that's because we're brother and sister. We just get on. Life's too short for big arguments. We just get on. I'm lucky that I have so many special memories of places that we've been, things that we've done as a family. Again, with Gran and Grandad, where Gran and Grandad lived at Pickering, and we'd quite often on an evening go for a walk. We'd set off from Gran and Grandad's home with the dog and head towards Pickering Wood. We'd laugh, we'd be silly, we'd be together. Our Ben used to pull my granddad all the way there, then by the time we were coming back we would nearly pull his dog's neck out because he was so tired. And they just sort of look and go, it's a long way. And like, yeah, but you've got 4 legs, we've only got 2. Can't be that much further for you. And we'd be there, and as we walked, Grandad would tell us about the hedges, what you could eat off the hedges, the rosettes, the haws, what you shouldn't eat. When you look at the trees, the different things that come in, the oak before the ash, the horse chestnuts, watching for the ash keys, throwing them up, seeing if you can make a helicopter. All these special little memories that we have. Making rosehip syrup. How many of you used to have that when you were little? No, we've got shakes of heads. Rosehip syrup. Brilliant cough medicine. Didn't used to do anything because it tasted nice. We were always told if cough medicine tasted nice, it didn't do any good. To be fair, if you got rosehip syrup, you didn't particularly mind because it just tasted nice. And we used to go to Grandad to show us where it all came from, how to make things. I'm also a big believer that family is not always those that are just related by blood. Our friends are the family we choose for ourselves. We have our chapel families. When we had our chapel at Stamford Bridge, my dad acquired a chapel wife because they were there on a Sunday morning and they were there and sat next to each other, and that was that. We have our work families. I used to have a work husband because I spent longer with him than what I did with my own husband. And one of the lads that came to work was convinced that we were married because we argued a lot and knew how each other took our coffees. And I was like, there is so much more to being married than that, but there we go. But these things should just be treasured. Little things should be treasured. We got people that know me will always say I'm very big. I am very big. But if people say, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful at all, when some people get to a certain age, they start chunnering about getting older. And I always say you shouldn't moan about getting old. You're lucky enough to have got there. Yes, it comes with trials and tribulations, but I unfortunately, my best friend died when she was 38 from cancer. And she was never given that option to grow old, or she never got a chance to have a family of her own or anything. But I still have my memories with her because she was my best friend. She was part of my family and our family. So yes, there are days when you ache and you don't particularly feel like being very happy or anything at all like that. But be grateful for everything that you have, because you never ever know what's going to come your way. You've been chosen to live as long as what you have, and you've chosen to give them the route that you go. But please, please, please treasure your family and your friends and everything that goes with it. Make those memories. If you want to go out and put your welly bobs on and go and jump in a puddle, go do it. Don't worry about your hip. We can sort that out tomorrow when doctors are open. So moving on from there, from our family and our friends, we're going to join together to sing hymn number 544, As the Deer Pants for the Water.
You are Lord, you are a King. I love you more than any other, so much more than anything. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you.
Well, you'll be pleased to know we've managed to do a week in just under an hour. Day 7, rest. And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day. Then God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. I always think when the story of creation has been told that for everything he did in 6 days, he does deserve that day off, that day of rest. I also tend to think about what we do as a family. And I have to say one of our favourite things to do is that we get in the car, we get a flask, we get a picnic, and we go up into them there hills, up into the moors where there's no telephone signal, nobody can get you. We take a book out, newspaper, we take a bat and a ball, we go for a lovely drive, and we just escape it all. And it's lovely. You always know, we like Farndale is one of our favourite places to go. My granddad was originally born in Farndale, so we always go back up to Farndale. And just as you're dropping back down from Farndale into Huttonley Hole, you can tell that you're getting back into the rush of life because the phones start going berserk. With emails and messages and Facebook notifications and WhatsApp and everything else, weather forecasts and everything else that goes with it. Sometimes though you just take a step back and you think about the weird times of COVID. Strange thing to reflect on, not the nicest thing in the world that we all went through. Who would have thought that every night at 6 o'clock we'd turn the telly on to see 3 people stood there telling us how many people had passed away from COVID, telling us what we could and couldn't do. We had to work from home. The simplest things, such as buying toilet paper and pasta, became a huge challenge because everybody was convinced that at the end of the world everybody needed like 80 rolls of toilet roll. And pasta would never ever be known to us again if we ever got out of this weirdness. But then you're allowed to go out for an hour. And a chap had a walk on the North York Moors because he was allowed to go out for an hour. And before him a vision appeared of God. The man asked God quite simply, "What are you doing? There's all sorts of horrendous things going on in the world. And here you are walking along the moors without a care in the world." And God just looked at the man and quite simply replied, "My child, I am always at work. But today I've decided to work from home." So there you go. There's my contribution to yourselves for the creation. Something different. It's always different when I'm about. Hopefully we've got some memories going in here. Some things that you may have forgotten about. Some things that you might want to go out and do. Just do. I know I did say if you want to put wellies on and go and jump in a puddle. Just do be careful. I don't mind you doing it, but please, please, please be careful. But yeah, I'm nearly done and dusted, so I'd just like to thank you all for coming. There is a collection plate just on your way out if you are able to make any donation for the work that is continued to be carried on. So I'd just like to say a very, very, very big thank you, and I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day, a nice Easter, a nice Father's Day, and a lovely Christmas if I don't see you before then. So we will conclude this morning's worship by singing our final hymn, after which I'll just say a blessing when we've finished. So our final hymn for this morning, which I think just encompasses everything, and it's a good one to belt out as well. Love Divine, or Love's Excelling, hymn number 503.
Love divine, all love excelling, joy of heaven to earth come down, fixing us thine humble dwelling, all thy faithful mercies crowned. Jesus, thou art full compassion, pure and bounding love thou art. Visit us with thy salvation, enter every trembling heart. Mighty to deliver, let us all thine hands receive. Suddenly return and nevermore thy temples leave. Leaving only always blessing, serving as thy ghost above. Pray and praise thee without ceasing, glory in thy perfect love. Age and thy new creation, pure and spotless, let us be. Let us see thy great salvation, perfectly restored in thee. Change from glory into glory, telling them we take our place, till we come from ground before thee, lost in wonder, love and praise.
May the Father's hand keep you from stumbling, the footprints of Jesus give you confidence to follow, and the fire of the Spirit keep you warm and safe in your walk with God, this day and always. Amen.